child, woo child, woo child. This is Chats with Cubana. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Woo Child Chats with Cubana, and I have a special guest with me today, Mr. Laquan Rice. That's your name, right?
You said it right.
Period.
Laquan.
Laquan. I like to get people name right because my name is Yaya AKA. And I hate when people mess my name up. So Laquan Rice, owner of Duplex and Revolver, formerly Rhyme of Reason, which is one of my little hidden spots that's not around anymore, but we'll talk about it. So how are you today?
Tired. Yeah. To be honest, I am.
I can imagine you just opened this up not too long ago.
Then we opened January, coming up on our 1 year anniversary for New Year's Eve.
They got something planned already?
We do. We're doing a black and white party. No, we're doing a black and white party. Yeah. We're actually gonna start selling tickets in about 2 weeks from now.
Period. Y'all heard it here first. I'm putting this out. Y'all heard it here first. They're gonna be able to get it on Eventbrite and everything.
Eventbrite, yeah.
Perfect. So let's talk about Duplex first, and then kind of transition over to Revolver. So you started Duplex as a place for chefs to be able to come in, and they didn't have the opportunity necessarily or the funds necessarily to open up their own restaurants, but they were talented.
Right.
So what made you come up with that idea? Like, that's so out the norm.
I was running a bar in River North right during COVID happened. We had shut down, and they shipped all the management crew down to Houston. So they had 5 locations in Houston. So I went out there to go manage out there, and I got COVID when I got out there. So I sat in the hotel room for 3 or 4 days, had nothing to do. And I came up with this idea, like, I had these 2 concepts I had in mind. So I called the owners of the space that I was running back here in Chicago. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think about me running these 2 concepts out for takeout and delivery? And like, go ahead, because we don't have nobody there anyway. So I went there, used it as a ghost kitchen, created these 2 concepts, and it took off. And so like, okay, maybe because it had gotten so big, it started to disrupt me managing in the space and me also running my business at the same time. So found a space that I liked in Logan Square, and we took those 2 concepts, opened up at the Duplex with that. But it was like the idea behind trying to continuously create your own concepts, twice a year. I said the idea would be great because I know so many chefs who are really talented, but don't have the exposure nor the necessities, the funds to be able to open their own space.
Right.
And I was like, how about it's almost like an incubator idea to bring chefs in. We can collaborate on them creating their own menu, and then we market and brand them as it's theirs.
I like that.
I like it. It's a lot of work. I was
going to say, so like,
yeah.
Is it once a quarter? Is it
twice
a year? Just twice a year.
Yeah.
So it keeps the people that come there often like guessing. They never know what the menu is going to be.
Yeah.
So how do you guys go about choosing the menu? Is it strictly up to the chef, or you have like people coming in and tasting stuff?
We started with, it was first when we started, it was an application process, and this allowed us to vet, who we thought would work well within the space. And the first two flips, that's what it was. And now it's like you get a phone call from somebody who wants to get in, or somebody recommends somebody else. So it's now it's just what it's become. That's
dope. So how did you transition over from Duplex to now this, which is like a speakeasy, it's giving 19s, 20s vibes. Right. Y'all will see those who are watching on YouTube. We got Dorothy Dandridge on the wall. You got the old school black and white picture of the black guys dressed up real nice, sitting on a nice car. Like, how did that transition to this?
We got a year in at Duplex, and I think for me is, if I want to stay in this industry, I think the ultimate goal is to be able to expand. And I've always wanted a cocktail bar. I had been negotiating the space. I'm negotiating the space for about 8 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it took a little bit of time to be able to get in the space. And it was like, what would that look like ultimately? And it was like a place to where I would want to be in. And rather it's date night, before dinner, after dinner, I want to hang out and hear good music, but also have good cocktails as well. Is a space that I wanted to create.
I think that's nice. First of all, the ambiance is amazing. Even during the day, it's not dark, but it's not bright. It's like perfect.
Right.
So when people come in, I know you said you wanted a space where you would feel comfortable in too, but what do you want people to feel when they walk through the door? Because 1920s can be a little questionable depending on who you are.
I think the shock is, so like obviously outside, it's a comic book storefront, right? So you don't know what what you're walking into, right? Yeah, you might have seen photos on Instagram or you've seen photos on the website, but when you go from the outside to inside, you're like, oh shit. Oh,
you can curse.
oh.
Yeah, you can curse.
Yeah, no, and it's like you want to be in a space that's timeless and it's taking you somewhere else.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what we're trying to provide in this space, is that you're somewhere else. Because I think the 1920s had a lot of style and charisma, and then a lot of cocktails were created during that timeline.
Yeah, old fashioned
was,
which is one of my favorites.
That's what I drink quite often.
I like an old fashioned.
Yeah,
especially when it's made right. Some people it's
sometimes too
sweet,
too strong,
and I'll be like, what happened to the middle ground?
Balance.
Yeah, you gotta find. Sometimes you find people that do it just right. You don't have to say anything. You're like, okay, cool. So, with that being said, we're gonna dabble into race just a little bit. Being a Black man in Chicago, trying to create your own lane and growing your business. Like, what are some of the challenges that you've been facing to do this?
I think ultimately it's just doubt. I think just listen. I would say this. Where my grandfather came from to where I am today, I would say this is the best time to be an African American man in America. I think we have it to where we believe we can't get something done, and that's never necessarily been the case. I know it's like we have to maneuver in the world a little differently, which I completely understand.
Yeah,
but it's already ingrained in my mind that I have to move different.
Yeah,
right. And it's not necessarily about you got to outwork somebody 2 or 3 times. No, it's how you represent yourself, right? It's the connection that you make, it's the networking. That's what it comes down to. When I got here in the city to work in the industry, I had a pretty good skill set in bartending, and I didn't get the job that I wanted. So I started at a lower level spot, and I just kept pushing. I kept interviewing. I kept pressing people that I was interviewing with to give me the job. I got an opportunity, and ended up working for Lettuce Entertain You. And I would say there is kind of where I learned how relationships were important in the industry, right?
Yeah, they're very important. I think some of the younger generations don't realize how much networking and your first impressions to people are very important, because they can look at you and be like, oh, no, immediately no, I don't want that. And then they can speak to you and be like, I thought you were different and I'm still good on you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And you get, so like I work corporate America, and I think it's tough to not be your authentic self. I think so. I think that's what we should live for. And if you can do it, you do it for the amount of time to get your advancement to what you truly want to do. And I had to tone myself of who I was down to work in those spaces to be able to get to where I currently am today. And it was like, listen, I can sacrifice 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, however long it is, to where I get to where I can be me all the time.
I think that's important too. I also work in corporate America, so
this
is my outlet to just be like, I'm gonna wear my leather boots and I'm gonna wear like whatever I want to wear and not have to code switch and not have to do those things. But I also find it difficult sometimes when you're going into business meetings, like still trying to be your
And I'm okay with that not everybody's going to accept me for who I am. And that's fair as well. And that could be my own people in the same, I'm outspoken on things I like to be outspoken about. And I see the world in the way I kind of see it. And so, but that's also gotten me to where I am. Like I'm stubborn, I'm hard-headed, but I work extremely hard.
What's your sign? You an Aries or Taurus?
So I'm on the cusp. So I am. My birthday is the 21st of June. So Cancer, Gemini. Yeah.
Okay, you. Soon as you said I'm stubborn, I'm like, what you got going on? No, but that's what you have to be. You have to have tough skin here too, because you have to be able to take the criticism, like from the beginning to where you are now. You have to be able to hear people out.
You do. Yeah, in this industry, listen, failure is extremely high.
Yeah,
it is, and I couldn't understand what was, because there's obviously rhyme or reason, and that was tough because there were so many ways that I felt, you know, and yeah, it was the product was good, right? But the product was only good on the weekends, you know, is what it was like, because in this industry,
able to transition that over to Revolver.
Yeah.
Like brunch on Mondays.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they got brunch on Mondays. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So I think it's dope that you're actually learning from those experiences. Because I think the one thing about failure is that failure, you're gonna fail in just about everything that you touch. You're gonna fail in some portion of it. However,
so we are where we're at. We're in October. I would say hopefully sometime in March of next year there'll be another concept out. I think right now what's important is putting together a team that allows me to be able to expand the business.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where we're at. You know, it is. So what happened is that sometimes you expand too quickly.
Yeah.
Right. You know, at the duplex when we opened, I was there every day, every hour, every day. And then open this space kind of removed me from the duplex. And what I noticed is that I enabled them to rely on me too heavily. Right.
So even when you weren't there, they calling you.
They still calling me. Still calling, still texting. My phone is always on. It's always on. No matter, I could be at dinner, vacation, I'm answering the phone. You know, so it's like, you know, being a parent, you try to provide safety and security for your children, you know, and sometimes you coddle them too much. You know, I think they're great people. You know, I think now is like, now they're learning on the fly.
Yeah. You guys sink or swim, right?
Sink or swim.
So with that being said, I know you said you got your kids and and then you got duplex, you got Revolver. Like, where's the work-life balance for you? Because this is a lot.
There is none at the moment. There is none. There isn't. You know, people ask me all the time, you got to do stuff for yourself and all that, whatever you want to call it, self-care days and all that stuff. Which is great. My grandfather didn't have self-care days. He didn't have it. And I think ultimately, my fulfillment comes to being able to take care of those who I love. And so, yeah, balance, you know, maybe I get to sit in my car for 15 minutes before I go in the house, you know, but listen, at some point in life, yeah, I'll get there.
But just not right now.
Just not right now.
That's understandable.
Just not right now.
So for those up and coming entrepreneurs, those people who just have like a little goal, what is something that you would tell them that you wish someone told you early
on? I would. What they could have told me is that it is okay to make as many mistakes as you possibly can, and also potentially find you a good mentor. You know, and again, like I told you, I was stubborn and hard-headed, but it came with cost as well. Yeah. You know, and I didn't have that person to lean on. I think when I was truly getting in this industry, you know, trying to do my own thing. But now I feel is that I can make some phone calls to people, and they would answer, and I would ask for help because, like, I don't think I know everything. Yeah. You know, and it's getting to a point to where, like, all right, stubborn and hard-headed, but also, you know, I have to at least be emotionally intelligent enough to understand, like, man, like, all right, enough's enough. I gotta make a phone call. Yeah. You know,
I think that I don't care how old you are. I don't feel like once you're independent for so long, it just gets hard to ask for help. It's not that we don't want to ask for help. It's just like, are you gonna throw this back in my face that I have to ask for help? Because I don't want that.
You don't want that, yeah.
So, you do have kids. Do you see any of them following your footsteps and like taking over the family business?
You know what? I don't know yet. Right? I don't know. My son likes to. He's dabbling in the cooking. He's actually interviewing this weekend to work at Duplex.
Good luck.
My 14-year-old, she worked for me at the Duplex this past summer, the summer before. So she's actually starting back to work there again. So I don't know.
You don't know just yet.
If I would say, I would believe it might be the youngest.
It usually
is. Yeah, it might be the youngest.
The baby usually trying to keep up with the oldest. And so they end up picking up stuff quickly. So my son, he plays basketball.
Okay.
His dad has another son, and he picked up basketball because my big brother played basketball, and now he a beast. And we be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What is happening? So yeah.
She's the most observant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That Generation Alpha is a little different.
They're different.
They pick up stuff. I'm looking like, where'd you learn that from?
Yeah.
How old are you? Because I don't understand what's going on.
She's really mature. So. She is.
So, okay, we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna switch gears just a little bit. And I'm gonna cut all of this out. Yeah. But you can ask me any questions, and then we can just talk about like whatever you see that's out here and all this other stuff. So one thing that I get frustrated with in podcasting is that I see a lot of I'll say people with a little bit more funds, or I won't say celebrities necessarily,
right,
but people with more funds and just accessibility, they're able to put podcasts out like hotcakes. And I'm like, now my podcast better than all of their podcasts out here. Like, I don't want to be Kanye, but you know. So how do you feel when you see other people coming up and you like, this is not a good quality product? Like, you're not giving us good quality food. You're not giving us good quality drinks or a quality experience. So when you see that, when you go into other spaces, if you go into other spaces,
I do.
How does that? How do you look? Do you find yourself like criticizing it, or?
You know, I do, because I've seen people that again expand, because expanding is I think is a big part of it, and I'm just like, man, how the fuck? Like, the product's trash. Like, everything about it is so wrong. And how are they finding? Rather it's the investors, right? Rather it's the banks. You know, rather it's secondary. Ability to get funds. I don't know how it's done. And well, I take that back. I do. I kind of do. I do know how it is. And I would say the difficulties in being a minority and African American is that I think finding the resources is probably the most difficult. Yeah. Because we don't have enough of the information. And that's what it comes down to. And when you get into the right circle of people, they will fund you like nothing, right? And they'll find somebody else to fund you.
Yeah, they be like, you can do it. Let me tell you my friend.
Yeah.
And I'll put you on with this other person. You be like, whoa, hold on. Like, this is a lot real fast. To speak on the resources, I think it's very difficult. Like, I know in 2020, last 3 years, really, there's been a lot of grants, just kind of like, African American grants, and you're a first time business owner grant, or you're a single mom grant. And I don't think a lot of people understand like what comes with, these grants, depending on how they're funded, or like what's needed from you to report back. Some people can just get all this money, and then it's like, it was a grant, but you had to pay that money back. Yeah. So what would you tell someone looking at that? Obviously get some help, but like, what else would you recommend for them to do?
Due diligence. I think is getting into, so I can explain it. So luckily enough, during COVID, I figured out how to trade. Okay. And that's how I ended up funding the duplex. But in this industry, you need to continuously get funded. Yeah. And that's the weird part about it. Like, people think like, yeah, the concepts are cool and people are in the space, they're vibing and having a good time, but it's not enough. It's not, because you're always marketing. And I'm sure like, listen, it is expensive to push your content. It is expensive to push that, listen, you come to our space, right? Because one, in Chicago, is super competitive. You're competing against everything, and let alone like you're a minority owner. Yeah. Right. And you got to think about it. The neighborhoods that I am, they're in gentrified neighborhoods. I'm in, Logan. I am in, I'm in Wicker Park. I'm not out south. I'm not out west. Yeah. So it's finding that balance, because I'm creating spaces for us. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Yeah. I want us to be the majority in the space. Right. But how do you do that? And weeding out some of it, keeping other parts in, and still welcoming everybody else. And that's like this teetering effect of a fine line of what you're trying to do. And I think that's the most difficult, but outside of grants, I think SBA is great. I tell everybody, listen, make sure you file your your taxes.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, man, like that's a big hold up.
They say
If you're
don't.
not, yeah, make sure you pay Uncle Sam.
Don't be Wesley Snipes out
Yeah,
here in these
don't
streets
be
and you
that.
trying to go somewhere.
Don't be that. But like, and there are actually small community banks that are very helpful to startups. And I would say one, if Allies Community Bank, I think is great. They do a really good job of funding startups. Wintrust and BMO, they're really good too.
Wintrust, aren't they Black owned?
Listen, I've heard different stories.
Okay. Okay.
We had to do some homework. Do some homework on that. Do some homework. But no, that's who I bank with. So.
I don't.
Yeah. Are you with Chase?
I got a lot of different banks. I'm one of those people that's just gotta. If I don't put my money everywhere,
sure.
it'll get spent somewhere else, and I'll be like, "But I thought I got paid. Like, what's happening?" So yeah, I got about 3 or 4 different banks. You know, a bill account, something that I actually wish somebody would have. Financial situations that I was in my late 20s, early 30s, trying to figure out where my money going, and didn't really get the chance to figure that out until it was time for me to purchase a home.
Then you knew then,
and then I was like, no, I make more than enough money to buy this house. Like, hold on one second. So I think that's one thing I wish that in our community was. I think it's talked about way more now than it was back then. And I'm not that old, but I feel like 15 years ago, I didn't hear people talking about credit and make sure you have this X amount of money saved or what was going on. It was like, no, go to school. And that'll solve all the problems if you go to school.
I always think like in our culture, we are a step behind or two. And we're always chasing somebody else's blueprint and not creating our own. And I think that's the hard part. I think school, listen, I think school is great if you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, you want to be some type of scientist. I think you don't have to go to school to be an electrician. You don't have to go to be a plumber. I mean, you don't even go to be an architect. So I think our previous generation, meaning like our parents, they didn't get the chance to go to college. So they pushed a lot of pressure on their kids. They pushed all the pressure on the grandchildren. And it was just school and nothing else, right? You go to school, we get the debt, and you might be able to get a home somewhere down the road. And so like, but what works for us? And nobody has truly said it in a way for us to explain how we should provide later in life for us. I think that's like the toughest part, because listen, I wasted money in college and I would take it all back, to be honest. So it's truly about, us doing.
He is a great student. Right now he's on an honor roll. He's so proud of himself.
That's good. Yeah.
But he is his mom's child. So he has my personality. So he can go in any room and wow anybody. He's short, so people never believe that he's 13. So he's always like proving that he's 13. People are like, oh, he's so smart and he's so well articulate. I was like, oh, he about to be 14 years old. Like he better know how to speak. Like, I understand. So yeah, with him, it's like, I feel like I want to learn how to fix some of the things that my parents did with me, because I still implement a lot of things that my mom implemented, as far as like being independent, knowing when to ask for help, understanding that, I'm not going to always be able to help you. So you still need to learn how to do things.
What did you take away? So like, all right, the good, like I understand that, but like, what do you felt is that your parents,
the biggest thing is the scene, and I actually hate that. I don't understand where it came. I know where it came from. It came, to not get too deep, it came out of slavery. You need to be seen and not heard because, we have to be quiet.
Right.
However, for me, I feel like we silence a lot of our children, and we don't listen to them. And if we just listen to them, they actually got some stuff to say.
Yeah.
Even when George Floyd happened, and when all that stuff, he was only like 10 or 9 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
He was like literally talking to me. So like, not all police are good. Not like all. I was like, oh wait, we gotta have a real conversation. Like, hold on. So it's like, I don't ever want him to feel like he cannot be seen and heard.
Absolutely.
You can be both.
Yep.
And so for me, my mom, she's like, I can't believe he just said. I'm like, well, he has the right to feel that way, Mom. Like, sure. She don't get that.
She don't get it, huh? Nah. She don't get it.
She's starting to get it now because he's older now. So she's like, okay, well, I don't like that you saying that, but whatever. But that's one thing that I actually plan on doing with any future children that I have. It's like, no, there's a way to say how you feel and still be respectful. And I think that we miss that part a little bit. Like, no, you can speak your mind, but don't do too much.
Right.
Because I'm still a parent, but
So do you think just because I understand like how kids go to school 40 hours a week, right? You have your business, you work, right? So innately, what does that give you? How much time do you have to be an influence in his life, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the battle, is you trying to protect, what your kids are learning, right? What their information they're getting, and still trying to hold this foundation down of what you believe in.
We are a woke household.
Oh, yeah, woke.
Like real woke. Like they was trying to teach my son about Emmett Till, and he was telling them stuff. Like, hold on, because my daddy said, and my stepdad said, and so we're a real woke household. So pretty much nothing's off bar to talk about. We're gonna talk about it all. Even some stuff I don't want to talk about. I'll be like, can you just give me like 10 minutes to get my mind wrapped around this? It is difficult though, like with the podcast and the 9 to 5, and then recently we were planning a wedding. That took so much time, and I remember feeling so bad because like I didn't have a whole lot of time to spend with him. So what I do now is like I just create family dates and I put it on the calendar. I know people think I'm crazy. Like I schedule like tonight. We have movie night tonight. Pop popcorn. We're gonna watch scary movies. Like I just kind of force myself in everybody else's time. Like, no, this is what we're gonna do, because I know now at 34, the memories I cherish the most are not what my parents think. It's not Disney World, and it's not that stuff. It's my mom and my stepdad coming to my track meets in high school. Like that's the stuff that I remember. So I try to make sure like I'm at every single thing. Like, oh, you singing this weekend? I don't care what's going on. I will cancel. I've called off work. I don't care. Like, he's gonna always come first because I know that in a 9 to 5, I'm replaceable. Yeah. So but what about you? And you got all this stuff going on.
Yeah. It's so like, again, it's the same. Like, we at the dinner table, I think the goal for me is I'm at home for dinner 4 times a week. And then we create a day to where like I can get out for a couple hours. Like I don't miss those dinners, because I understand how important it is. But I'm a benevolent dictator. I would say in the house. No, I will say, because, I think it's important for children to have a voice, but it is so. And how the voice is being interpreted, right? It's the tone, and so like we'll have. So what I'll do, I'll play like a YouTube video, at dinner, and talk about a hot topic, and get everybody's thoughts on the issue, right? Yeah. So like everybody will go around and discuss about what they felt and how they feel, and I would notice that my oldest daughter, I felt as that she had too much autonomy at a young age. Now I'll go back and think about it, because you want your children to have these voices. You want them, but I need her to have the voice based on what the voice is, the leader of the house, right? And in so many ways, because you can become naive to believing what society and school is telling you what you should be believing, right? And so it is. We used to go back and forth. She was 10. She was very combative. Very 10, 11, and I probably say 12. She was really combative. No, it was times where my wife was uncomfortable with the conversation because now now she's crying at the table. So it was like trying to. What I don't want is my children spewing out ignorant things that they don't understand. Like if you're gonna be on a debate team, you gotta have facts, right? It's not just opinion based; it's about facts as well. And so that's kind of what it really is. And like now I've seen all the work that I was putting in from 10, 11, 12. She's coming back full circle. So,
yeah. Sometimes they had that. I call it the rebellious.
The rebellious, yeah.
Like my son, anything I purchased him to wear was horrible.
Yeah.
However, he liked everything my husband wore.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm buying you the same clothes that I'm buying this man. I don't understand. But because I bought it was an issue. But if my husband bought it, or if his dad bought the same exact outfit, oh, this is so great. And I'll be like, what in the world is going on? But now, mama's boy.
Yeah.
Like, no, mom, I like that one outfit. I got so many compliments on this. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what happened? Who are you? So
that makes sense. Like, it's a boy and a girl kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like a little pushback from mom, I'm trying to find my independence from mom, so no, I get it.
Now he don't want the independence.
He like mom.
No.
Listen.
Yeah, we do one thing in our house. So we don't call it an allowance, we call it a paycheck. So you get your paycheck. But with his paycheck, it comes with his chores, right? So I'm not that household like, no, you're gonna do your chores, and that's because you live in this house. Like, no, I want to teach him money management
for sure,
and how to do it. So he has his little debit card, and every month he gets his little money on there. Well, he wasn't doing his chores, so I just stopped.
So ain't no money coming in,
So he was like, I didn't get my paycheck. I was like, my house wasn't clean either. I had to do the chores that you were supposed to do, and if I did that at work, they would fire me.
Yeah.
So you figure it out. So he's back on board now, where he's like, okay, I got my paycheck, and it's like, I want to save my money because Spider-Man's coming out or Christmas is coming up. So to hear him like, do those things, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we're back on board. We're good. Like,
that's really good stuff you're putting into your son. Yeah.
It's fun. It's definitely fun. So on top of the you got the New Year's Eve party coming up.
Yeah.
What else? What other events can people look forward to? And then also, how can they keep up with all of the endeavors that you have going on with Revolver and Duplex?
We try to update the website and our social media pages quite often, and what we have going on. Obviously, we got Halloween parties, next weekend. Black Wednesday is coming up. Oh, yeah. We're doing a new menu flip over at Duplex, and it's open to the public in terms of new menu on November the 3rd. So that's a Friday. So we're really excited about that. And new cocktails are coming out as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we were just picked up by BMO Harris and Chicago Bulls as their sponsor, as being a Black-owned restaurant in Chicago. So they're gonna promote us, for the season, which is really cool. We just interviewed with Kobe White from the Bulls at the Duplex.
So that's so dope.
Yeah.
I feel accomplished now. First of all,
no, it's great. To get that kind of notoriety.
Yeah, I'm actually not to do too much, but I'm actually proud to have seen like Ryan Marie's and Duplex, now Revolver, and just to see when my friends come in town. So when we got married, that wedding weekend, they were like, "Oh, we got reservations at the Duplex," and I was like, "Oh, I love that spot." I was like, "I know the manager, I know the owner, like they're so cool." And so they were like, "You guys got to be on time," and I was like, "We know, like, we've been there." And then when I made the reservation and they came in, they were like, "Oh, we got some friends coming in." Your manager was like, "Oh, I saw her name. I saw Yaya's name. Like she'll be here. She's fine." Because I was like, "We're not gonna make y'all reservation. We'll make ours." Stuff. So I'm very proud and like honored to actually be sitting here talking to you and just seeing you flourish, and I'm excited to see what else you all have coming up.
Appreciate it. Yeah, stay tuned. I'm like I said, we're looking at something hopefully spring of next year.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there too. I'm gonna be at the grand openings of everything. It's gonna be over with.
No, I appreciate you. You're the best. You're the best kind of customer. Right? No. So, and also I'm proud of you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is dope. Well, so you heard them. You can go to Revolver at Revolver Chicago, right? On Instagram. It's at Revolver Chicago, and at Duplex on Instagram. And you can go to their websites, and I'll have them linked below. Until then, y'all know y'all can find me. I'm at Cubana Kiss on everything. Until then, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.